Okay, are we recording? Good. Come. Uh. Sorry, guys. Still. Well, I finally got what I wanted, a new phone for Christmas, which it's getting a bit to work for. Yeah. So basically, the reason I'm doing this is because, well, as a creator, from me and my standpoint, it just kind of gets boring after doing. It gets kind of boring doing the same two what ifs every day, every other couple of days, and well, just it just gets boring. I don't know what to say. And so we're doing this along with another one. Oh, and along with the JJK what ifs. God, the epilogue was empty as shit. Ugh, damn. My Hero proved to be the better series all around, even in the end. But besides that, then the next JJK what if that will be replacing one of them, possibly the sand one, is basically another what if Sonic. All right, look, basically what if Yuji was Sonic, but which I also should explain, since the other one that's going to be helping replace this is probably the second other one is, the fourth series for this one of the what ifs to make it four is what if Asta had Sonic's powers, which I should also explain that these aren't the same Sonics in a sense. Basically, they're different. Basically, each version of my characters, like what if Asta, what if Deku, and eventually what if Yuji was Sonic, they're all basically separate universes, which, say, what if Asta had Sonic's powers more based off of the Fleetway Sonic the comic, or more so the UK Sonic the comic universe, i.e. the Fleetway comics, thus Fleetway being present in the series, although I am letting Asta just have Super Asta as just a side form anyway, just so I can actually rock out things. But yeah, it's more so a modified version of the Fleetway universe. Now then, for the what if Sonic and Deku ones, had Sonic's powers, that's the game universe. Just straight, what if Sonic was Deku, what if Deku was Sonic, that's the game universe. So, yeah, all of the events that happen in the game are going to happen in that series, along with just a couple of tweaks and minors to fit the world. Now then, for what's eventually going to be what if Yuji was Sonic, I'm either going to put it as the Sonic. It's either going to be the Sonic X universe that this one is basically fused with or merged with, or the movie Sonic universe. I haven't decided yet. If I can't decide, I'm just going to flip a coin and let's see how it. If I can't decide by the time I make the video, get ready to make the video, I'm just going to flip a coin and see what happens. So yeah. But with that, let's get on with the video. Jesus, that was a little bit long. Sorry about that. But yeah. So we start this story off with a woman with ash blonde hair and green eyes holding a baby, walking through a forest. This woman's name is Lichida. And, the baby that she's holding has the same ash blonde hair as her, except there are pink patches. His hair is just pink in some random areas, like basically pink patches on his hair. Some areas of his hair is pink, along with the fact that the baby has somewhat slightly pointed ears. Now then, Lichida didn't know how her son did get these, since, the man she had him with didn't have pink hair, and she doesn't know about the pointed ears, but she does know something that she's heard from the grapevine from every time and time again she goes around people, which she makes it fast and quick, obviously, but besides that point, basically, she hears about the elves and how they were slaughtered nearly 500 years ago, which makes her fear for her son's safety. See, now this is an upside and downside. As a downside for upside, Lichida has a reason to stay away from people. Reason being is that she has some kind of condition where her body is weak. Well, not weak per se, but constantly drains magic, like a curse. she doesn't know why this happened. And right now, she knows that this is a good way to explain, to keep her son away from people. Unfortunately, for Asta, this made the boy be born without magic. Although that means he can be around his mother free of worry. And so, she decides to just go and walk. So, which she thought, the reason she's walking back is because she thought about putting Asta at the doorstep of the church, but she couldn't. She just couldn't. Especially with his ears being pointed, she doesn't know what would happen to him. They could, if any royal knight or people found out about him, they'll kill him. From what she knows, since they don't like elves, and she just won't take that risk with her son. And so now she's walking with her baby boy through the forest, where she hears a large growl, leads her to run until she eventually bumps into something scaly. And when she looks up, she sees a red dragon with somewhat humanoid features. Which, as she's about to run, the dragon speaks his mouth and says, "Do not worry, as he would never harm an innocent. Especially an innocent while carrying a child." With the dragon explaining that his name is Ignil. He is the Fire Dragon King. And this leads to Lucia and Ignil talking, as he notices that a very, very, very small portion of his magic is disappearing around her. But the reason that it's so much of a small portion is because he has so much that really doesn't matter in the long run. And Mitchell realizing this leads to her being able to basically talk with Ignil, just explain stuff. Just talk with Ignil, become friends with him. Although while Ignil's looking at Asta, he thinks to himself, could he be one of the ones? As he thinks to himself that if he is, then that means he has a promise to fulfill. And with that, he spends his time with just coming around, talking with each other, checking on the baby. While somewhere else, we see a man with black hair running for his life. He's wounded, bleeding out. He's being chased by someone, and eventually he jumps into a river that goes into a waterfall. After he claws his way out of the water while keeping his son in a protective bubble of air, he thinks to himself, as the baby boy in question, has pointed ears just like Asta, but instead, in his black hair, he has white patches running through it. As he thinks to himself, he doesn't know why. He knows that this child is his, but he can't think about that right now. Eventually, while running, he bumps into something soft, but still scale-like. When he looks up, he sees a white dragon with her scales looking more like feathers than, with its scales looking more like feathers than, scales. And with this, knowing that he doesn't have much time left, he begs to, with the dragon wondering who would disturb her, with the man proceeding to beg the dragons, telling her that something is attacking his home, and he doesn't have that much time left. He can't get his son away. Please take him and protect him. Basically begging the dragon to save his son. Thus, the dragons ask for the boy's name, as he tells her name, Grandina. That's her name. As she explains that she's a sky dragon queen, and that she will. As she thinks to herself, she's wondering if this boy is also one of the ones, as the pointed ears can't seem to tell it different. So, Grandina takes the baby and flies off, with the man being able to let out one weak smile before dying from his wounds, collapsing to the ground. Now then, we get back to Ignil, Lucia, and Asta. Nearly 5 years have gone by since, with Ignil staying around them, while also trying to figure out. Now, Ignil, with his vast knowledge of spells, since he can I would assume he can use magic besides just fire, especially in this world. And so, he's trying to find a way or at least more so a magic to burn away her curse. So while he's trying to do that as a nice gesture of goodwill, one day he Leechta and Asta are just walking around with her enjoying her son's company. You know, she just loves her baby. But eventually they come across something. Leechta knows what it is, a devil, but she doesn't care. She brings it in, and she sees Ignil outside their house with him noticing it and asking if that's a devil. With her explaining yes, and that, but it's a child and he's hurt. She can't leave him hurt. And with this, she starts preparing the boy's wounds. Eventually, the boy waking up and her naming him Libe. And thus, nearly another entire year goes around. Although halfway through the year, Ignil finally finds a way to burn away her curse. And, well, I mean, he thus uses a magic spell to quite literally burn her curse away, freeing her from it, and thus her not absorbing magic anymore. The woman is astounded, and this also leads her to start going down with Hodge Village with Asta, them meeting the locals, you know, everyone down there, even meeting some of the children at the church. They're all so little that Asta asks his mom if he can come down and help every now and again at the church. With her agreeing, and, well, that's how the rest of the year goes around. Now, one day, while Asta comes back from helping everyone at the church, this is when Libe almost suddenly collapses over, as something appears from a black-like fog appearing from his body. Now then, Leechta tries to force the devil out, although, here's the thing, Ignil notices this and rushes on his way. And just as the devil, Lucifero, is about to pull his arm back and stab Leechta through the stomach, something comes bursting forward, grabbing his hand. As what's revealed out of it is a man with red hair and red marks around his face, with him asking Lucifero while letting out hostility. With Lucifero repeating Ignil before asking him if he's come to save this woman, with Ignil replying yes and forcing him away. Although, there comes a consequence from this. Well, Leechta first thanks Ignil for saving her life, and second thing is that, also, just a quick explanation. I mean, if Agnolodia could transform back to a human form, or let's just say Ignil can, alright? Now then, with this, Lucifero tells Ignil that he'll pay for this before disappearing. Although downside is that Leechta was trying to seal Libe in the grimoire that she had around the house. And while he isn't fully sealed in it, this leads to the boy still having to reside in the grimoire. Basically having to go back in after a certain amount of time, which he gets sucked up into it. And while in there, he starts cursing Lucifero, all of the devils, for nearly killing his mother. As he knows for a fact if it wasn't for Ignil, she'd be dead. His rage ends up dyeing the grimoire black, which is what Ignil notices as it turns black as Libe has unlocked his anti-magic, born from his hatred of the devils. And with this, Ignil starts to explaining how he felt magic presence that he thought he would never feel again. And with this, he realizes that it's about time, with him telling Leechta that he knows a way Asta could gain magic, but he'll be having to train him, and if she's okay with it. And with that, Leechta, Asta, hearing this, who's been hugging his mother, crying the entire time, as, well, you would legit be scared too if the king of the devil has possessed your brother and nearly murdered your mother. So, yeah, Asta is basically clinging on to his mother right now. Although, hearing this gets the tears to finally stop. With Asta asking Ignil if he could really teach him, if he could really get magic. With Ignil replying that, yes, it's an ancient It's an ancient style of magic, dragon slayer magic. In Asta's case, it would be fire. With literally asking how, with Ignil explaining the history of dragon slayer magic, a woman gave humans the ability to slay dragons with magic. Although Ignil also explained how he could give Asta magic. All it would take is him pouring some of his magic through Asta's chest to get. Basically, because he's a dragon, it would work. Although the thing is that his magic is such on a somewhat different level that most people wouldn't really realize that Asta had magic, as they wouldn't be able to sense it. And so he could while he would still be, some people would probably still try to laugh at him about it, but he would. And all he does is ask Asta if he wants to, while slowly, as he goes back to his main form, with Asta replying, of course, along with him saying that he could teach Liebe just normal dragon slaying magic, as well as he wonders how that would mix with his anti-magic. And with that, it starts the training. Asta training with Ignil, and another year goes past. The boy's about 7-ish, as this is when something lands down. In the little field they have at their house, something lands in front of them. A white dragon with a boy on top as he jumps down. As Asta and Liebe were just kind of sparring, as Asta finally got in Dragon Slayer magic, and we're now just sparring in the woods. With the dragon asking where Ignil was, as the boy jumps down. And with this, Ignil then comes around a couple of minutes later as the two basically talk to each other, along with realizing they may have found the two that they promised to train all those years ago. And thus, Yuno is introduced to them. Yuno is a less quiet-ish. I mean, he isn't as stoic as he is as he would have been around this point. As well, he is a lot more, how do I say, fancy-ish, or more, a little more noble in a sense of his personality, as being trained by a dragon that's lived 500 years, well, over 500 years. You get it. Basically, gets introduced to him along with telling him his last name. Marville. I think that's how you say Wendy's last name. I'm pretty sure. With Asta and Liebe telling the boys their last name. Asta and Liebe Dragnil. With them saying, as well, they've realized that was Ignil's last name and they took it. With UL replying that was the same with Grandina. Or is it Grandini? You know what? Let's go with Grandina for now. If I'm wrong, I'll look it up. And boom! More years pass by. Along with Asta and Lee. After going down to their church, with Asta eventually bringing Liebe along in the grimoire and letting him come out. Basically to meet everyone. And they're not scared of Liebe, even though he looks somewhat angry-ish. I don't know if those are gunshots or not. I'm not going outside to find out. But, what the fuck is up with this goddamn refrigerator? Hold on. New refrigerator. I don't know what's up with it. Besides that, but yeah, basically, after Liebe meets everyone, and after explaining exactly what and how much he hates the devils, he's obviously welcomed into church with open arms. As the kid, now then all the kids are explaining that they can't tell anyone about Liebe, but so they understand that, and thus the three are. A lot of the children in the church see them as older brothers. Now then, about Asta. No, he doesn't have the thing for Sister Lily here. I feel like being Wait a fucking minute. Hold on. Being raised by his mother, Ignil, along with now Grandina, along with now Grandina, along with having Liebe and Yuno there, and going down. So yeah, along with the fact that he met Sister Lily at age 5 this time instead of, meeting her, instead of knowing her since he was born. So there's not that real. So, well, yes, there's still an emotional connection, but just like in my Sonic What If universe, it's more of that he sees her as an older sister now, or more like a second mom, in his eyes. Or I guess third, because Asta sees Ignil like a dad, like asked not to date canon, along with Grandina as a second mom, so. In this one, it's more of a big sister or a third mom situation. You can pick however you want. I mean, the relationship is still that of a sister and brother, or older sister and brother, or a mother and son. You choose. So yeah, the years go by, along with the fact that around when they're 14, though, after basically doing jobs for everyone in the village, ends up buying himself a black and white coat. Wow, then. Oh, also their ears. The boys' ears. Literally, I end up making them some things with shedded dragon scales from Ignil. I.e., Asta having Natsu's signature scarf around his neck. So yeah, Asta having Natsu's signature scarf around his neck, along with his headbands. That clip enough to where they go above his ears to make it look like that is just... Along with the fact that he has his hair grown out enough to where it covers most of his ears, along with the headband that straight up ties them together, and people would be none the wiser thanks to his hair. The same for his hair is out a little bit more than in canon to hide some of his ears. Then you have a headband placed over it, basically to make sure no one knows about their pointed ears. Although Father Orphis and Sister Lily obviously know about it. So there you go, they know, and that's about it. Now then, one day while they're 14, Asta and you are in a cave with Grandina and Ignil, with Ignil using his magic to open something, along as something drops out, with him saying that these are lacrimas. But also they've heard about Agnologia from Ignil and Skydina, but they think it's more so of a children's tale just to scare them. But yeah, basically, back to what we were. Agnil drops some lacrimas in front of him and says these were mixed with that these are basically hearts of departed dragons from also long ago. With him explaining that he trusts Asta and enough to leave if they want to give people Dragon Slayer magic and possibly revitalize the dragon race if they want. It's completely up to them. Or they can even burn it out. It's up to them. He trusts the boys completely. Now then, though. This is when Grandina uses a spell to... Along with him saying, Grandina and Ignil saying goodbye, as she uses a spell to put the boys asleep. With Ignil telling Liebe to come out. And Liebe does. As he tells them to watch over his two brothers. Keep them safe. And with that, Ignil and Grandina start turning into energy before both flowing into Ignil into Asta's chest and Grandina into Yuno's. With Liebe grabbing, as he sees this, he does hear one last thing to make sure they don't get themselves killed. Along with, don't tell Asta and Yuno about this. Let them think what they want, as they have ulterior motives for this, and thus they go into the boys' bodies disappearing as Liebe grabs the lacrimos and hide them drag them into the grimoire with him. And with that, it's pretty much that. Asking, wake up a little bit afterwards, and then they run around looking for Emil and Grandina before realizing that they're gone. After a little bit of coming to terms with the fact that they're gone, they head back to, the house they've been living at for years at this point, with Ash's mother, obviously. Felicia shocked to hear that they're gone, but she thinks that they might have a reason. And with this, Liebe then comes out of the grimoire. He doesn't explain what happened, but he does explain the lacrimos as he pulls the basket out along with a fire dragon lacrima. He gives one Lichida. Now then, she accepts it, obviously, becoming a fire dragon slayer, and with that, I'm gonna kind of have to cut this one short, as well. And with that, another year goes by until the grimoire ceremony. And as the two boys get ready to walk, that's where I'm gonna have to end it, as I'm running out of time. Alright, everybody, Mario 13.